Hello, 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 ladies and gentlemen. If you don't know who I am, my name is Shook. I make videos for NBA. I make videos for NFL. All these videos, they get posted on, not that, they get posted on this subreddit right here. I make updates with all the news that comes out throughout the day. Great subreddit here. Other people post content here. It's a huge subreddit. As you can see, top 1% ranked in size. But yeah, I make updates with all the news that comes out throughout the day. Anything you need, I will be here up until lock, sometimes after lock, to answer your questions. Anything you need, just a chat, anything. So that'll be linked down below. And if you ever need to get a hold of me privately, you can do so on Twitter right here. All right, so let's get into. I haven't made a video in a few days, so we'll go over all my lineups from the past few days. Yeah, if you are interested in more in-depth content, where I give you guys cores, private videos, player pools, main slate, night slate, showdown cores, anything you need. I'm in Discord 24 hours a day, like legit. I am in there like 14 hours a day, all day long. You can talk to me. I will literally answer you with lightning speed. It's incredible. Even on Reddit, I will answer you with lightning speed. That's what I'm here for. But yeah, that'll be linked down below as well. All right, so let's go into my lineups from the past few days. So we'll go over tonight. We'll go over tonight last because I had some really, really strong takes for tonight. But let's go over some FanDuel stuff. So this was the other day, absolutely nuked. This was the other day as well, absolutely nuked. This was 2 days ago, absolutely nuked. Let's go over the other day, absolutely nuked with what was this Max Christie game? I just unbelievable stuff. Just Tony Snell, unbelievable. This was the other day. This was 2 days ago, I believe. Just buddy. Okay, so I was feeling really sick this day. This was yesterday, 2 days ago. I had Podzemski, Sexton, and Carl Anthony Towns. And for some reason, I swapped off that because Ant I felt was a little bit better. But I didn't realize I had Podzemski in my lineup. And I thought I swapped off Podzemski to Healed and I had Sexton in my lineup. I accidentally swapped off Sexton to Healed and Ant, and I kept Pods in my lineup. I would have never done that because I wouldn't have had the salary for Sexton from Pods. So that swap would have never happened because Sexton was a lock this day. And I didn't realize because Pods was 5,800, I had $0 remaining, and Sexton was $6,000. So if I noticed that I accidentally swapped with Pods in my lineup, I would have never done the swap. And this lineup would have ended at 308 fantasy points. I would have been in. Why is it only saying? Was this? I guess this is a smaller contest, but I would have won, I believe, $2,000 if I didn't do that swap. I unbelievable brain fart right there. This was the night slate from the other day. Did well here. This was a main slate from I forget what this was, but easy cash here. And this was the NBA tonight, another easy cash. We've just been absolutely crushing. And so my takes for tonight were very, very strong. And my takes were I didn't want to spend up for any stars. I told everyone in Discord I want 0 stars because if you played a star on this slate, it forced you on some chalk value that I thought was horrible. And let's go over some of that chalk value that I thought was really, really bad. Andre Jackson was the first one. He just had this random. Andre Jackson is 0.5 fantasy points per minute with Giannis on the court. Now you add in Dame, you add in Middleton. It's probably less than that. He just had this insane. He had 2 fantasy points in the second half. He couldn't have done that in the first half. He couldn't have. Another value that I wanted absolutely none of. Corey Kispert. I said he was the worst play on the slate. I didn't understand why he was popular. Mega bust at 25% ownership. Another value that I wanted absolutely nothing to do with. Where is he? Where is Danilo Gallinari? I forget where he is, but he busted and he was popular. I probably have to scroll down because the dummies with him. Yeah. Okay, it was only 5%, but it was projecting to be popular. Another value. I was more okay with Marjan Beauchamp, but I was expecting him to start. He busted. He got into foul trouble there. But as you can see, I wanted none of this value. And all the value to get up to the studs, they all busted. Um, and the stars busted as well. Giannis bust, Kevin Durant bust, Devin Booker bust. So my take, like I said, was to go full mid-range. My core today was Nurkic, Fred VanVleet, Grayson Allen, and Podziemski, all of which reached value. So I feel like I played the slate very, very correctly. I feel like I just got a bit unfortunate with Middleton's like 5 fantasy point first half and Bobby Portis bust. But I feel like I played the slate very, very well. Daniel Gafford was one of my favorite plays in the mid range on this slate. He carried me. So, really good night overall. Hope you guys had a great night as well. And let's get into this 11 game slate. So, we're going to go through this pretty quickly, guys. I'm not going to do too much analysis because this video is going to just take forever then. But let's get into it. Phenomenal spot for these Clippers main guys. I think all three look pretty good at their respective price points. You know, Pacers, they're pushing the pace. They're making like insane totals. You know, super high scoring games. So you have Kawhi, Harden, Paul George. I think all look like solid plays. Now, I never get either of them right. Like if I play one of them will bust, the other one will go off. But I think all are pretty solid plays at their respective pricings given the matchup. I always just prefer Kawhi, but I think all are solid. Westbrook's way overpriced. Zubac, it's an okay spot for him. I think he's a fine play. Should play around 30 minutes. Solid. And then I think everyone's priced up enough to where we don't have to consider them. You know, Terrence Mann at 4.5, I guess, is fine for value. We don't have a ton of value on the slate right now, so he's fine. Moving on to the Pacers, so it's all going to come down to Halliburton. If Halliburton's in, then there's not much to like here. Halliburton, don't love the spot. Miles Turner's priced right. The wings would be overpriced. TJ McConnell would be out of play. There just wouldn't be much here at all. If Halliburton's out, that does change, though. So TJ McConnell would become even a really good play, even at that price point, assuming the game stays close. Now, one thing I do want to mention with the wings, I know the game blew out, but with the wings, they were running a deep rotation to begin with. They were down early, so they went with a hot hand, which is what we know the Pacers like to do. So even if Halliburton's out, the wings aren't safe. So as you can see here, the wings, like the starters, did not come in to play that many minutes in the first half because they were down. So just be a little bit careful there. They will go with the hot hand even if Halliburton's out. They were not they were not on pace for big minutes, especially Buddy Hield. So they will go with the hot hand regardless. So if Halliburton's out, the wings, Hield, Bruce, Mathurin, Naismith, they're all firmly in play. I think my favorite probably would be Bruce Brown, but they can always go with the hot hand. Just thought I'd mention that. They wouldn't be great plays. They would all be fine plays. And then I don't think I'll be going to anyone else. They dusted off Jarace Walker. It's disgusting. Moving on to Chicago's. We have Crusoe questionable. We'll see if he's back. We also have Torrey Craig, who is doubtful. So you'll probably see Patrick Williams probably going to play all the minutes he can handle. Fine play. Feels pretty safe to me, but feels priced right. DeMar, Vooch, Kobe, they're all solid. Definitely some blowout risk going up here up against Sixers 10.5 point spread. I honestly think Kobe White's my favorite. He's been the most consistent. He's playing the most minutes right now. He's going to have the ball in his hands a decent amount. He's stuffing the stat sheet. Kobe White probably my favorite of this grouping, but I think they're all fine to solid. And then if Cruz is out, Io is going to play all the minutes he can handle. Priced right, but in play. I don't think I'll be going to anyone else. If you think Vooch gets into foul trouble, you could consider an Andre Drummond. Like, if Drummond plays 15 to 20 minutes tomorrow, he's probably going to smash this price point. So, large field tournament play if you need it. Okay spot for the Sixers here. I mean, Joel Embiid's just been phenomenal. He's just been phenomenal. He's always going to be one of my favorite spin-ups on the slate, and no one continues to play him. Just nobody. No one wants to play Joel Embiid. He's low-owned every slate. Good defender, can get block steals. As long as this game does stay close, which, once again, there's blowout risk, he will play close to 40 minutes. So definitely one of my favorite spin-ups on this slate. We'll talk about Jokic. We'll talk about Luka. Tyrese Maxey, not the best spot here, so more of a contrarian play for me. Batum priced right, Kelly Oubre overpriced, Melton's overpriced, Tobias Harris is overpriced. So it's really just the main top two guys here for me for the Sixers. Moving on to the Rockets. Bad spot here, so I don't have too much interest in this team. I think Sengun's priced right. I think Fred's priced right. Jalen Green had a big game tonight. Not going to put too much factor into that. Tari Eason's overpriced. Dylan Brooks is overpriced, so there's just not much here. All right, Cleveland, definitely a team that we can talk about here. So Donovan Mitchell definitely looks like one of the better spend ups on the slate. With no Garland, no Mobley, he is their, I mean, even with them in, he's their clear go-to guy. But his usage, minutes, volume goes way, way up. Gonna stuff the stat sheet. His assists, potentials go way, way up as well. Not the best spot, but he looks great. And then Jared Allen, I think is priced right, but he'll get a usage bump, minutes bump as well. I think he's a solid play. And then Max Strus, Karis LeVert, I think are fine options. Karis LeVert just didn't play much last game. I don't know what that's about. I would think in this game he'll probably play a little bit more, so I'd like him as a bounce back candidate. And then like Akora Wade, they'll get minutes bump. Dean Wade started, got into foul trouble but smashed. I think they're priced right, but they are playable values. You'll see Craig Porter dusted off. Tristan Thompson will get the backup. I don't think it's necessary to go to those guys. Moving on to Charlotte, so Terry Rozier is probable. We have Gordon Hayward questionable. We have Mark Williams doubtful. We have PJ Washington questionable. Tough to say right now, but I will say if everyone's out that was out last game, I'm not going to pay 5-1 for Bryce McGowan's. Nick Richards will play all the minutes he can handle as long as he stays out of foul trouble and the game stays close, so I like him. And then you'll see Bridges, Rozier, they'll play a ton of minutes, but not necessarily the best spot, but would be in play for me. And then they finally added Mensa into the player pool. He'll get the backup 5. I don't think it's necessary to go there. Really bad point per minute guy. And then you're seeing some Nick Smith Jr. get dusted off. It's just disgusting. And then if everyone's in, like players are in, I think Nick Richards is still solid, but if PJ Washington is in, he could lose some minutes. It's definitely a downgrade. PJ Washington himself, don't love it. Brandon Miller, he'll be a bit overpriced, so wouldn't be much here. All right, really good spot for Toronto. I like the main guys. I like Scotty. I like Siakam. I like Goji. I like Schroeder. I like Pirtle. I think all are solid plays. I think my favorite probably Siakam if you factor in price point. But both the top two guys here just playing huge minutes. Also stuffing the stat sheet. I think both are good plays. OG probably my least favorite of the group. I think he's probably the most overpriced of the group, but still in play. He's also playing huge minutes. Good defender. And then Dennis Schroeder stuffing the stat sheet. Playing mid-30s minutes. I think he's a decent play. Jakob Poeltl, his minutes all over the place, but it's a smash spot here. So definitely have some interest for tournaments in him. Got into a bit of foul trouble. We'll say he was on pace for 30 minutes back-to-back games. So yeah, he does have this type of ceiling when he does get the minutes. So I think Jakob Poeltl is a pretty good tournament play. Gary Trent Jr. will play low 20s minutes off the bench. Does have a ceiling if he hits his shots. Moving on to Detroit. So we have Stewart and we have Duran out. Guy I like here quite a bit is Marvin Bagley. Played 22 minutes. We know he's a good point per minute guy, and he was on pace to play more until the game blew out. So if he starts again, which I assume he will, I would expect 25 plus minutes from him. We know he's a good point per minute guy. So yeah, I do like some Bagley. Wiseman's just overpriced. I feel like the price points should be a bit switched here. Don't love much else. Like, it's a good spot for Bojan. In play for tournaments, more large field for me, just because if he's not hitting his shots, he does have a low floor, but does have a ceiling. He's their best player right now, honestly. Kate Cunningham feels priced about right, up and down, always in foul trouble. Alzer Thompson, solid, I guess. And then Ivy, Hayes, they're kind of going with the hot hand between these two. So hard to gauge there. They're dusting off some livers. I don't know if I can play livers on this slate. I don't think I can do it. Moving on to Atlanta, good spot here. So we have Bog questionable, we have Capella questionable, or no, he's out or going to be out, and then we have Hunter questionable. Now, if everyone's out that was out last game, there's going to be a decent amount to like here. Okongwu, I would really like once again. This was a floor outcome for him. Also got into foul trouble. He's going to have to play all the minutes he can handle. Good point per minute guy. Good spot going up against Detroit. I would really like Okongwu if Capella's out. Trae Young, DeJounte Murray, it's a good spot for both of them. I think both are solid plays. I prefer Trae to DeJounte Murray. Sadiq Bey will have to play all the minutes he can handle. He would be a pretty safe play in the mid-range. Bruno will get the backup 5. I think he's priced right now, though. They're going to dust off some I can't play the Matthews. I just can't do it. But yeah, there would be some stuff to like here. If Capella's in, then I think Capella's a good play, because if Hunter's out, though, because they are playing Capella and Okongwu alongside each other, so I would like Capella still. And then only if Hunter's out. If Hunter's in, then definitely a downgrade. And then if everyone's in, wouldn't like much else. Would just be the top two guys for me. Moving on to Minnesota. So we have Ant and McDaniels questionable. I would expect them to play here, but if they are out, I would assume you're going to get like Troy Brown in the starting lineup. It would be what? NAW, Mike Conley, NAW, Troy Brown, Rudy Gobert, Karl Anthony Towns, I would assume. Then we could have interesting guys like NAW, Troy Brown, Kyle Anderson. These guys would get bumps, but I do expect Ant and McDaniels to play here. So with that being the case in a tough spot, there's not much here. We do have Bam back on the other side. It's a really bad spot for Gobert. I think Cat's overpriced with Ant back. Ant himself in a tough spot. It feels priced right. McDaniels is 5K. Don't love it. Everyone's just priced right. There's just not much here. Moving on to Miami, just a cross-off for me. We have everyone back. I would expect people to be on limits, so there's just not much here at all. Basically a cross-off. On to Memphis. So a lot of guys out here. We're gonna have John Morant back on Tuesday. Awesome to see. As far as DFS goes, I like playing him in DFS. If you're against him, whatever. I have no takes there. But we'll monitor the starting lineup here. They could do a number of things. So Tillman's been a DMP basically every game. I guess they could move him into the starting lineup, but my guess is they start Jaren at the 5. They do something like Jaren, Bane, Roddy, Vince Williams, and then they start like a Gilliard or a Conchar would be my guess. So keep an eye on that, but there is value to like here. So Vince Williams in the starting lineup has played 30 minutes, basically back-to-back games. He's been producing well as well. I think he's a solid value. If they do start like a Gilliard or they started Zaire in the second half, I want to say. If they do start one of these guys, then I like whoever starts. If they start Jaren at the 5, he gets a significant boost. I would like him for tournaments. Bane's always in play for me. They could even start Aldama, I guess. Roddy, I think, is fair value. If they start Tillman for some odd reason, even though he's been basically out of the rotation, I would like him quite a bit. So we'll just keep an eye here. It's definitely going to be a wait and see. I think the sure thing right now is if Jaren starts at the 5, I like him for tournaments. I do like Vince Williams, and then Roddy's playable. Aldama will get a bump, but off the bench, if he's off the bench, tough sell there at the price point. And then whoever starts, I do like for value. Moving on to OKC, so SGA in play, not probably one of my least favorites on spin-ups on the slate. I think Chet's priced right, Jalen's priced right, Giddey's priced right. There's just not much here. Moving on to Brooklyn, phenomenal spot here. I think the main guys look pretty good here. Bridges, Dinwiddie, Cam Thomas, Nick Claxton, I like quite a bit. Claxton, 6'6", his minutes have upticked of late. I do want to say Watford was a DMP last game, and Sharp's minutes have downtrended. So if they're going to continue to play Claxton 33 minutes, I think it's a good idea to get on him before the field realizes it. This game, he got into massive foul trouble. So like Claxton for tournaments, Cam Thomas, it's a really good spot. Utah gives up a bunch of threes, so I like his ceiling quite a bit. Dinwiddie probably your safest bet looking at the price points he's stuffing the stat sheet. Mikal Bridges probably your boom or bust play, him, Cam Thomas. But I think all 4 of the main guys look pretty solid in a good spot. I'm not going to touch the value. Moving on to Utah, I mean, it depends on John Collins. Also depends on the starting lineup. We also could have your 7 back as well. So tough to say right now. I will say with both the guards out, Sexton is in play. I think THT is a bit overpriced if they start Dunn. He wasn't really playing that much until the blowout. If they do start Dunn, I think he's solid at 5'3". Simone's priced right. If Kelly Olynyk starts again, he seems like a pretty safe play. Guy can stuff the stat sheet, do a bit of everything. And then Markkanen is on a limit, so hard to go there. If John Collins is in, then I'm probably... We'll see what they do with the starting lineup. But the guards are still in play, assuming Dunn and Sexton do start. Not going to touch the value there. All right, moving on to Dallas. Not the best spot here, but with Kyrie Irving out, Luka's playing all the minutes he can handle. He's doing absolutely everything for this team, so definitely my favorite spend up on the slate. I absolutely love him. We do have Lively out, so I would assume one of Dwight Powell or Rashawn Holmes starts if Rashawn Holmes is back. Whether that's the case, whoever starts, I like quite a bit for value. We don't have a ton of value. Tough spot going up against Jokic, so foul trouble is definitely in the realm of possibilities. But both bigs, if Rashawn Holmes is in, would be in play. I would like whoever starts, though. I would hope I hope it's Rashawn Holmes just because he's better point per minute and also cheaper. We'll see if he's in. If Dwight Powell's, or if he's out, Dwight Powell's going to have to play a decent amount of minutes. I don't know if they can go small against Jokic. Dwight Powell not as good point per minute, but I would think he'd have to play a decent amount. So I like whoever starts. If Rashawn Holmes is in, I like him. If Dwight Powell starts, I like him for value quite a bit. And then, like I said, I love Luka. Dante Exum's priced right. Tim Hardaway Jr. has a ceiling. He should play big minutes with no Kyrie Irving. Derek Jones Jr., Grant Williams, they look like pretty safe plays. Should play big minutes. I think I prefer Derek Jones Jr. to Grant Williams, but both pretty safe to me. Seem priced right. You might see some Prosper if Holmes is out. Thought I mentioned that, but just for large field tournaments. Denver, not much here. Jokic, he should be able to feast whoever they put up on him. Rashawn Holmes, Dwight Powell, so it's a phenomenal spot for Jokic. So him, Luka, my two favorite spin ups on the slate. Really like Jokic, even though he's been kind of in a slump of late, but really like Jokic. Everyone else is priced right. If KCP's out, you can consider guys like Braun, Holiday. They'd be fine, but don't love it. Good spot here for Washington. I mean, Tyus Jones has just been phenomenal of late. I don't understand what's gotten into him, but if he's playing well, he'll play this big of minutes. I think he's priced right now, though. Denny, overpriced. Jordan Poole's priced right. Kyle Kuzma's a bit pricey. There's just not much here. I'm not going to touch this value on this big of a slate. Sacramento, phenomenal spot here. Fox News is definitely important. If Fox plays, I think Sabonis and Fox are good plays. I think Fox should just be able to feast here. So would like both for tournaments. Then everyone's just overpriced because they priced everyone up. If Fox is out, then Sabonis is a good play. Monk, Murray, they get a boost. Priced up though. Herter, I think would be a solid play, but the minutes are up and down on him of late. And then I would like Barnes for value of 5-1. He didn't really get a price jump, so I would like Barnes for value. And then Keon Ellis started, he would be playable. Trey Lyles probably plays high teens minutes, playable value. You'll see some Sasha get dusted off, but I'm not going to go there. Last game of the night, good spot here. I think Brunson's a pretty good play. He's just also been phenomenal of late, stuffing the stat sheet, doing everything for this team as well. Good spot going up against the Lakers. Guards against the Lakers still been a thing. So I like Brunson. Randall's fine. RJ's overpriced. Isaiah Hartenstein's been getting the bulk of the minutes at the 5. Reasonable. Sims, not going to play him. And then quickly should get around 20 minutes off the bench. A viable value. Lakers, just it's hard to say. Wood questionable. D'Lo probable. LeBron, 80 questionable. It's just really hard to say. If one or both are out, you guys know what we're doing. Like, we're playing Reeves, we're playing D'Lo, would like Rui, Prince, Reddish would be fine. If, they're both in, then it's just 80 and LeBron at the top for me. So, yeah, it solely depends. Like, if 80's out and Hayes starts again, I like Hayes for value. If, LeBron's out, 80's out, and they start, like, Reddish again, I'm sorry, if they start Christie again, I like Christie for value. Once again, you can't have short-term memory in DFS. Got to throw this game out the window. So just keep an eye on this team. I have a feeling they play, but we'll see. Hope this video helped you guys out, and I will talk to you all in the next one.